Today I'm gonna give you the 5 most important tips that you can learn when it comes to recording your vocals on top of a tight beat that you just downloaded or purchased. Stay tuned for the last tip because it's one of the most important ones. It's related to mastering and it will prevent your tracks from distorting or clipping. Tip number 1 to have your vocals sound professional on top of a track is letting the vocals breathe by EQing your instrumental. So what we have to do, and in this project here I have my instrumental in blue and that all the vocals that I recorded on top of this project. And a good thing to do here is using EQ to cut out some of the mid or mid-high frequencies of the instrumental, which will let the vocals stand out and breathe a bit more. So track number 1, I have my instrumental here. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna add some EQ here.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams. She was.
And then we're gonna add one to the vocal.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams.
And you can see the areas where the vocal is most predominant.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl.
So what I'm gonna do here is around the mid and high mids, I'm gonna cut off a little bit of the frequencies, which will give more space for the vocal to shine. So let's do it.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams, but she wasn't falling. Now I'm 30 and I've been nowhere.
This is with.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of
And
my.
then without.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my.
It's a really small difference. It might not even be that noticeable in terms of what you're hearing, but it will make a difference because these frequencies won't be competing as much. Even though you might not hear it, if you were to cut off everything, you can see how the vocal would stand out way more.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah, it's late night and I'm going home. Sit on my couch with my head low. Boy, better that than a failure.
Right? So that's why we do this tiny little cut, almost like a surgical cut, just to let the vocal stand out a tiny little bit more. For tip number 2, we have Dynamic Sidechain to make sure the instrumental is not competing with the vocals. I used one of my recently released songs here to avoid copyright issues. And this is a pop beat, it's in the pop genre. And if by any chance you want to listen to it and stream it on your favorite platforms, I'll leave the link down in the description. So the second tip is complementary to the first one, and we're not going to be using an EQ to cut out more stuff, but however, we're going to be using Soothe, which is a great plugin, and we're pretty much going to sidechain the vocals to the instrumental and make Soothe cut out the exact frequencies that the vocal is playing from the instrumental while the whole track is going on. So to make this easier to understand, I exported the full vocals I recorded just so we only have 2 tracks and it's simpler to explain. And what you have to do is just send the instrumental to any of the mixer tracks and then send the vocals as well to a different one. Let's put them together here. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna send the vocals right here to the instrumental by right-clicking the instrumental on the bottom here and do sidechain to this track. This is gonna send the signal from the vocals to the instrumental. If you wanted to do this inside your project without exporting the entire vocals, you just have to come here to the main leads and send them to a vocal bus and do the same to the rest of the vocals. So I have some chorus here that I'm sending to the chorus bus. Then I'll have to send my main leads, my dubs, my chorus, everything into one bus, which would be this one right here. And then this would be sidechain to the instrumental. If you don't want to include the back vocals in the dubs and whatever, you can just do this with the main leads. So I would send these 2 to a bus, which would be this one right here, and then do what we just did with the sidechain to this track to the instrumental. So right now, we only have instrumental vocals playing, and we gotta load Soothe on the instrumentals track. If we play it, we see that Soothe is just affecting the instrumental right now and not receiving any type of information from the vocals. So what we have to do is first click on the sidechain button here, and then come here to the settings, go to the processing, and hit auto map inputs. As you can see, it will automatically add channel number 1 here, which if you right click is the vocals that we just sidechained. Then if we go back, I'm gonna take this off, play the song, nothing is happening, and watch how we start going up with the depth.
When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams, but she wasn't falling.
So right now, Soothe is affecting the instrumental and removing the frequencies that the vocal is playing. If we hit the delta here,
I've been nowhere. It's been a decade and she won't get out of my head. When I'm 40, I hope
we
you'll
can
be
see the reverse
there.
of this.
I hope you finally realize that she loves me. But I'm still 20, where am I dreaming?
So this will avoid the clashing between the frequencies of the instrumental and the vocal. So let's reduce the depth and try to find a nice balance.
Yeah. When I was 20, I fell in love with the girl of my dreams, but she wasn't falling.
Just a few dB.
Now I'm 30 and I've been nowhere. It's been a decade and she won't get out of my head.
Let's bypass it.
When I'm 40, I hope you'll be there. I hope you finally realize that she loves me. But I was so 20, where am I dreaming? Why am I worried about a girl I didn't even?
So you can see that with this second tip, the vocal stands out a bit more once again, becomes brighter, becomes more in your face. And an extra tip here is that we're applying this to the whole stereo image. However, you can come here on the stereo mode and click mid side, and we bring this down a little bit. And if you did so, this would only affect the sides. But in this case, since we're using a vocal, we want to apply this to the middle only. So we go all the way up and it says only mid, which, if I'm not wrong, means that we're not going to be affecting the stereo signal of the instrumental. So we're only going to be removing our vocals from the mids. Let's see in the rap part of the song the difference this makes.
Hey, I don't want to feel alone. Yeah, it's late night and I'm going home. Sit on my couch with my head low. Boy, better that
Let's
is a
bypass it.
fail. 2 nights out in a row. There's
Back.
no trend that'll take you out of my mind, on my brain.
So the vocal is slightly more present, and these are the few little details that you can apply to make a track actually go to the professional level. Moving on, tip number 3 is add sidechain to your vocals by using a ghost kick. This is a really important tip that I believe a lot of producers don't do, which is to actually sidechain the vocals to the instrumental. I believe that a lot of people forget to do this because since they're not producing the song, they're only buying the beat, the full beat, then they only record the vocals, process them, but forget the sidechain stage. And by sidechain, I mean every time the kick hits, the vocal ducks down in volume. Since the beats are fully downloaded or brought from the internet, it's normal that the singer forgets to sidechain them because usually they're not actually working with the full stems of the song. So they won't be like, oh yeah, I have my kick here. Let me just quickly sidechain this vocal to the kick. And you might be asking, wait, but what about if I don't have the stems? So the logical way to fix this would be to buy the beat and also buy the stems and then use the drums to sidechain the vocal. But then you might be asking, what if I don't buy the stems and I only have the MP3 or the WAV file? Well, I'm going to give you the best trick you can use, and you should not only use that trick if you only bought the MP3 or the WAV file, but you can also use it if you bought the full stems. What we're going to be using is a ghost kick. And to use the ghost kick, the first thing you need to do is get a random kick. It's nice that the kick is similar to the kick that has been using in the type beat. So if we play the trap part right here, it's, I believe for my song, this is the only part that has drums. So let's play it. And I previously selected a kick right here. Let me insert a new track, which is this one right here. Okay, sounds similar.
Hey.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna send this to the mixer track. Let me put it all the way here next to the instrumental and the vocals. And the first thing we're gonna do here is to remove it from the master because we already have a kick playing in the type beat. We don't want 2 kicks playing. That would be crazy and would add a lot of distortion, right? It would be a complete mess. So we're gonna remove it right here from the master. And before we do so, we play it. Okay, then we remove it and it's gone. That is the first step. Then we're gonna sidechain it. First, you just gotta make sure you add the kick to every place that a kick is playing. So let's hear it. So first kick is here, second one is here. Okay, so I just quickly did so for this part. After we remove it from the master, we're gonna sidechain this to the vocals. So you select the ghost kick and right click the vocals track and hit sidechain to this track, exactly like we did in the Soothe tip. Now in the vocals, we're gonna be adding a limiter and we're gonna select compressor here, and in the sidechain tab, we're gonna select ghost kick. What this is gonna do is receive the signal from the kick, so every time the kick is playing, the limiter in the vocals will know, and we're gonna bring the threshold back and the ratio up. So let's reset this. This might be a bit complex to explain, but if you don't understand the threshold and the ratio, you can visually see it right now. So let's play it.
I don't wanna feel alone.
Let me disable instrumental and we'll just listen to the vocals with this.
Hey, I don't wanna feel
Threshold
alone.
down until it hits the vocals.
It's late night and I'm going
Right here.
home.
And then ratio
Sit on my
up.
couch with my head low, but better that than to fail low.
Do you see it go down? If we were to play the kick right now, you'll understand this better. So I'm gonna put the kick back in the master and we're gonna do a more extreme example. So,
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone.
see?
It's late night and I'm going home. Sit on my couch with my head low.
So no sidechain right here.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone.
And then limiter on.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone.
Okay. We won't go this extreme because we want the vocals to pop through, but we have to make sure that the vocals are not competing with the loudest part of the song, which is usually the kick. So let's play it again with the instrumental.
I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah, it's late night and I'm going.
Let me just take off the kick real quick right here, the ghost kick.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah, it's late night and I'm going home. Sit on my couch with my head low. boy, better that than some fake love. 2 nights out in a row.
So no limiter first.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah.
Then we add the limiter.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah. It's late night.
Do you see how everything is more balanced and working well together? And it not only allows you to reduce these clashes between the kick and the vocals, but it will also give that nice vibe, that nice flow to the vocal because it's being ducked down, creating that groove, right? So this is a perfect tip for you guys. If you're not doing it already, trust me, this will make a big difference. Tip number 4 is to achieve perfect balance between the vocals and the instrumentals volumes. So this tip is really simple, really easy here. And a lot of singers and producers don't really pay too much attention to this, but sometimes most of your problems can be fixed by just balancing the volumes of the individual tracks. And we're gonna do so here. So let's imagine we downloaded our beat or we purchased our beat and we have it playing here. And then we have our vocal and it goes like this.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah. It's late night
and like you're used to this, but this is loud as heck, right? So what we're gonna be doing is to balance our vocals. First, we need to know at which volume we want our instrumental to be. Usually, and I'll talk about this later in the final tip, we're gonna want to have it at -3 dB, so hitting right here, right? This is so we have space to add the vocals and then master everything together. So first you set it to that level. So let me play my vocal without any mastering on it. Okay, and you can see that it's hitting around -6 to -3, and my snare seems to be really loud, by the way, I just noticed. But we'll just have it around -3, and then we're gonna get our full vocals and we're gonna bring the volume all the way down, and we're gonna start bringing them up until everything sounds balanced. So you need to use your ears here, right? Really important. So let's play it. Too low. So it would be somewhere around here. Then after you reach this nice level, it's a matter of personal preference. Some people like to have their vocals be the main thing, a bit louder. Some people don't, and they want them a bit lower in volume. But around this level would be a great spot for you to move on to the mastering stage where you're gonna glue everything and make it sound even. So if I turn my master on, and we can do this with the master on, let's see how it sounds right now.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone.
Sounds good, but we can do the same exactly right here with the mastering on. So we're gonna bring everything down. And let's start going up with the vocals. You see how this is too low? And this is too high.
Hey, I don't wanna feel.
Right, so let's go. Still low.
Better that than some fake love. 2 nights out in a row. There's no dream that'll take you out of my mind. Now my brain's fried, I cannot fight. I just need to let you.
Okay, so I think around here would be the perfect level.
Hey, I don't wanna feel alone. Yeah, it's late night and I'm going home. Sit on my couch with my head low.
Okay, everything sounds balanced, sounds even, and trust me, this will fix a lot of your problems, especially in this final stage, because a lot of people release music with the vocals too high or with the vocals too low, and it's always good to have that perfect balance, especially if you want to reach the professional level. Last but not least, we have tip number 5, which is to master and compress the instrumental and the vocals together. So at this final stage, and I believe you guys are doing this already, we're going to be mastering the beat and the vocals together. Quick tip here is for you guys to use the unmastered version of the beat, because this way you're going to have headroom to put your vocals on top of the beat, and when you master everything together, it won't start distorting like crazy too soon. However, if you only have access to the mastered version of the instrumental, then I still have a tip for you to be able to fix this. So in this first case scenario, let's go through the example where you got the instrumental unmastered from the website you bought the beat. What you have to do here is I'm going to turn off my whole mastering chain right here. And what you have to do is solo the beat, play the loudest part of the beat. For me, it's either the chorus right here, or the trap part, and it's probably the trap part because this part has drums. So let's play it. And you're gonna have to bring the volume down until around -3 or -6 here. So mine is already here. And usually if you buy your beats from BeatStars and so on, producers are often required to export their unmastered versions of the beat at -6 dB, right? So yours is gonna probably be automatically be at either -6 or -3. And after that, you do what I just did, which is to level the balance between instrumentals and the vocals. And we're gonna do so. It's sounding okay. And then we're gonna move on to the mastering stage, and you're gonna be adding your mastering. And for your mastering, a great tip before you just bring the volumes up is for you to add compression to both the instrumental and the vocals. If you add compression to both these tracks, they're gonna become one. And this is actually key for your track to sound good. So as you guys can see, this is the mastering I did. I can explain it with more detail in another video, but what matters for this video specifically right here is the compressor. So before we move on to start bringing the volume up, my tip for you guys is to add a compressor to compress both the instrumental and the beat like I just told you. So we're gonna add this vintage compressor right here, and I'm using Ozone 8, gonna put it to 0. And we start coming down until we see that both of the tracks are being compressed and glued together. So right here, we don't want to make this too heavy, we just want some slight compression to glue things out a little bit. So let's try to bypass and see if we can listen to it. Okay, and you can bring the gain up a little bit just to compensate for what you just did. Alright, and you'll be at the same volume level after the compression. I'm gonna leave mine to 0 because I like to bring the volume up at the final stage, which is the maximizer. So right here, we're gonna put this to 0 again. And we'll start going up. And this is until we hit 0. You can go all the way up until your track sounds distorting, right? So mine would be around -8, 8.5 right here. So if you take off these two, listen to the difference. Unmastered version versus mastered version. Let's see this in the chorus part. So without the compressor in the maximizer. And then with. And this is going to be your final product, so make sure you compress things a bit before you start bringing the volumes up with the limiters, with the maximizers. And if you want to learn more about this dynamics and the imager I use here, and then also the Pro L that I use after this, I just made a video on how to master your track using one plugin only, which is Ozone 8. So you can find it right here, or I'll leave the link down in the description. Now, in the second case scenario where you don't have this beat unmastered, you only have access to the mastered version, I have a tip for you. And I've done this with clients before. It's not the perfect way to go because since the beat is already mastered, if you're gonna be mastering it again, there's a higher chance that there will be distortion and artifacts and, you know, clipping and whatever if you're doing it once again. But the trick here is if it sounds good, it sounds good. And this step should not prevent you from releasing your music just because you don't have the unmastered version of the beat. So I'm gonna teach you how you can go around this. So I just exported the mastered version right here to make the use case exactly the same. And here's how it sounds. You can see that's already reaching 0. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring its volume down around -3 dB. So maybe around here. Let's see. Which means to -3 dB, right? And then we're gonna bring our vocals up, the vocals we just recorded, level them out like we did in the previous tip. Okay, let's see how it sounds. Getting close to 0, and now we're gonna be adding our mastering. So let's bring the maximizer down here. We're compressing already. And let's start going up. Sit on my couch with my head low, boy, better that is a failure. 2 nights out in a row, there's no dream that'll take you out of my mind. Now my brain's fried, I cannot fight. So before, and then after. I don't wanna feel alone, yeah. It's late night.
mind. And
what you're gonna notice is that the instrumental might start distorting sooner because it was previously already mastered. So you gotta be careful here. But if everything goes well, you might reach around the same volumes, not with as much quality, but it's probably not going to be noticeable if you don't push it too high, and you're still going to be able to have a professional final master with this trick, even if you don't have the unmastered version of the beat you just bought. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have any questions about what I just explained, leave them down in the comment section and I will answer you or make a new video on those topics. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you around. Happy productions and take care.